I just grabbed them from there.
What book are you reading?
I'm reading P.S. I Love You, which is just like a romance comedy.
Do you know who the author is?
No.
And it's a comedy?
Yeah.
Romance?
Yeah.
And where are you at in the book?
I'm halfway.
Okay. So why'd you pick that book?
Because I guess the story is really nice, and I like the romantic idea, because like it's just about like cancer and after how she progresses and deals with it.
So did you know that from the back? I mean, you can once you read the story, you realize it's nice. But how'd you know before you read it? Why'd you pick that book?
Because I like romantic books,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like a romantic book.
Okay.
So.
And it is. And okay. And so you're about halfway done. All right. So we talk about like reading zones. You know, the complexity of that book. And if we go on a 1 to 5 scale, you said like A Step from Heaven was about a 2,
Mm-hmm.
that it was easy, but it kept me thinking about the protagonist, and that Beat the Blues was a 4, that you were learning about psychology. So a 5 is textually complex, a 1 is textually not complex. So where would you put P.S. I Love You at in terms of a reading zone?
I would say a 3.
And why is that?
Like the writing is pretty complex, but what's easy is the pacing, and the story itself is really easy to understand.
If the writing is complex, how's the writing complex?
Like the use of diction, and just like you have to sort of realize how she's progressing, and you have to see all these types of relations as you're reading. Like
Do you see all these what?
relationships.
Relationships as you're reading? Okay. And okay, so the language is a little bit complex. The pacing is pretty straightforward, though. Is it chronological?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And okay, does it remind you of any other text that you've read? Can you make any text connections with it?
I guess any book that goes towards loss and how you deal with it afterwards.
And you've read something like that?
Yeah.
And you like that type of book?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the memoirs that we're reading? Where are you at with the memoir project?
I finished reading Lucky, but I'm almost done with Mouse. Mouse is I think is a lot harder to sort of put together, just because I'm not a fan of history. So when I first started reading it, it was really hard to pinpoint what was happening.
Meaning you didn't have the contextual background to it?
Yeah.
So what did you do about that?
I just kept reading.
And as you kept reading, did it become clear? Did the text itself give you enough clues to understand?
Yeah, a little bit, but without the context, I think I sort of zone out a bit when I'm reading, and it's a little harder for me to pinpoint what's happening.
Well, this is important because, I mean, when you're teaching, our job is to kind of give you the contextual background to it. And I didn't do a lot with that book, so that's good for me to hear, because it means I need to kind of do a better job at that to prepare you for that. What about reading a graphic novel as a whole? Have you ever read a graphic novel?
Yeah, but that was a really long time ago.
Okay, so how is reading a graphic novel compared to reading a novel?
Well, it's a lot faster, and I think if it portrays the idea, I think a little bit clearer if you're looking for text. But I mean, I can't say much about Mouse because I don't really understand it very well.
Okay. Do you understand, like, a little bit about the Holocaust and World War II and Germany and? No.
Yeah.
So do you, when you have those situations, what are your options? Do you just kind of struggle through the book, or what else could you do?
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it. I kind of just struggled through the book, but I guess I could look up the contextual background.
Mm-hmm.
and I reread it again because it's very fast.
Well, when you come across things in general that you don't know about outside of school, what do you do about it if you don't know about it?
I look up context or ask people.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're asking me. So a little bit about that background to that book, just really quickly, is you know, in World War II, you have Germany taking all the Jewish people to concentration camps, and then over time, many of those Jewish people ended up being killed. And being a Jewish person, as Art Spiegelman, his father was in the war and was arrested and was a Jewish man who was persecuted, and so he wanted to write about his father's story. And we realized, you know, so many millions of people died. It was a pretty horrible event, and so he's trying to give you a picture of what that looked like. Dan, you can sit over here. Dan, you can sit over here. Okay. Okay. So what are you going to read next?
I have to still read Night, so I'll have to get to that.
Okay. We're a little short of copies, but do the best you can on that. Okay. Okay. Great. Keep up with your reading.